Marketing is not the hard part. Writing the book, publishing the book, that is the hard part. I
agree.
Can't imagine. I've never written a book because that is really daunting and scary to me. Marketing is there's short-term pieces that you do over a long time. You've already done the hard part. This part, let it be the fun part. Let it be the part where you finally have all that hard work pay off and you're able to share it with the people that you want to be enjoying it.
Hi everyone and welcome. I'm here today with Olivia McCoy. She's the new person here at Luminare Press, an incredible book marketing expert. And we're going to talk to her today about what book marketing is and how any author really can book market their book in a way that is simple, affordable, and effective. Those are the three things that most of our authors ask us. So let's deep dive in it. The first thing really I want to ask you is kind of a broad general question, but what are we really talking about when we talk about marketing?
It's a great question because it's actually a much broader scope than you would expect it to be. Book marketing is often used as an umbrella term for book promotion in general. And there's actually three separate parts to it. And you can define it as marketing, publicity, and branding, or marketing paid media, publicity earned media, and branding owned media. So there's three different parts that go into it. The marketing piece is going to be your advertising. It's going to be your paid strategy, giveaways, promotions, listings, newsletters, all of those kinds of things that you are paying to participate in. Publicity is going to be earned coverage. It's going to be your consumer reviews. It's going to be your endorsements, your testimonials, anything that you're getting from the press, featured, anything like that. And then branding is all of the pieces you own. So of course, your book is part of your brand, your website, your newsletter, your social media, all of those pieces. And it's important to have all three because they feed into each other. So for example, you have your branding, you have your website, you have your home base. This is where people are going to go to find information about you and to find the content they're looking to consume. So that is purchasing your book, for example. You have publicity, which is going to increase your visibility and your book's credibility. And really, credibility is the big piece here. You're getting not only consumers, readers, telling other readers, word of mouth marketing, I love this book, you should read it, it's great. And who doesn't trust their family member over some random person on the internet? This is going to add credibility to your book and to your author brand. And then advertising, this end piece, is going to increase that visibility and discoverability tenfold. And what that means is the more people see your book, the more they're going to think, you know, I've seen this book everywhere. It must be good. I'm going to get it. It takes anywhere between 7 to 15 impressions, so views of something before they actually make a decision, like purchasing or reviewing, whatever it may be, whatever action is. So we need them to discover the book. We need them to see that the book is credible, and then we need them to invest in your brand. All three of those pieces feed back together and help you to promote your book.
Thank you, Olivia. That was great. Absolutely. I'm so glad that you touched on the different things and kind of see how different things need to be combined and considered. And honestly, while these sound like a lot, having like the knowledge that you have different ways to do your thing and not that you don't have to do everything at once, but there are like three pieces that are like kind of combined in your strategy is actually a really good point that you can start building. And as you have said, the book is a kind of the foundation, and the good news, once you come out with publication with us, you already have that piece, and that's huge. So that is like a really interesting thing. Just thinking about that way, when you have your book, you have already entered the marketing world. Like it's not something separate. It's like just a continuum of what the activity you're doing with publishing your book. So that's very interesting. And that actually leads me to the second ideas that a question I had for you is like, when we talk about marketing, it's like such a hot topic. Everyone is, or most authors, there are a few exceptions, people who publish for like family and friends, for themselves. Pretty much anyone is interested and understands the importance of book marketing. but they often say, oh, you know what? I don't know where to start. I don't know how to do it. And often they say, oh, but I don't like advertising. I don't want to advertise. So it's really interesting that you said, like, advertising is just a small piece,
Mm-hmm.
one part of a three-pronged approach to book marketing. But so knowing that, what do you think authors should expect from their marketing, from their book marketing? And of course, knowing that that depends on their commitment. It's like, it's not that book marketing is something you can entirely offload to someone else, but knowing that you have the opportunity of like hiring experts like you and the services that we provide at Luminare Press. How do you approach that?
Absolutely. It's a great question because it can feel really daunting and overwhelming, especially when I just listed all of those different pieces. And I want to start with a saying that I once heard a few years ago. They said, marketing is not a race, it's a marathon. And then they corrected and said, you know what? It's not even a marathon because there's no finish line. And
Yeah.
that's true. Once you are an author, you are forever an author. Promoting that book is part of your author brand for the rest of your time as an author. So it sounds like you can't leave, which is somewhat true, but also it's just a part of your everyday now. It's a part of your brand. So you're already doing it when you talk about your book. You're already marketing when you're sharing it, when you're telling someone about it, when you're answering questions about it. So that's a good thing, is that you're already probably doing something. So you've gotten started. Let's talk about consistency, because that's what I'm focusing on as a marketing expert for books is consistency and authenticity, because that's what's going to make the biggest push for your book. We want to make sure that you have a way to promote your book that feels authentic to you and not like something you're uncomfortable with. I'm never going to say you have to do advertising if you're uncomfortable with advertising. There are other marketing aspects to promotion that aren't advertising. There is SEO, there's metadata optimization. There are things that we can do on the back end that helps promote your book and your book's visibility without you paying for an ad that puts your book in front of people. So there are ways that we can support you in that. But then there are also ways that you yourself can get involved and put your book out there that feels authentic to you. Maybe it's not holding up your book and saying, this is fantastic. I love this and you will too. Maybe that doesn't feel right to you. Maybe it does. Maybe you like being a little tongue in cheek and you want to be kind of cheesy with it and have fun. Maybe it's something along the lines of, I was just talking about sharks with someone, and I actually have an anecdote about sharks in chapter 13 of my book. And, it's XYZ. That is marketing your book. And maybe that feels more natural to you. So when we're creating things like content for you, and we're creating a content calendar for your social media, or we're creating ads, we are really trying to use language that feels like you promoting your book and not like someone else entirely, because people are going to see right through it. They're going to see that it doesn't feel comfortable, that it's not you, and they're not going to be interested. So number one, we are always resorting to you and your comfort level. We're also working on consistency, which means something that you are able to maintain going forward. We are never going to tell you have to be on every social media platform doing everything all the time, because that is not realistic. You have a life outside of this book. You have family, you have friends, pets, hobbies, interests, a career maybe that's entirely separate from your book. You have other things going on. You don't have hours and hours and hours to invest every day. So we wouldn't ask you to, because it's not going to happen. It's like assigning you homework we know you couldn't possibly get done. So instead, what we're going to do is focus on finding 1 to 2, maybe 3 avenues that feel good for you and that feel realistic for your commitment, your time commitment, your energy commitment, and what you're able to do. So maybe it looks like getting you on Instagram or Facebook if you're already there. Maybe you hate Twitter. Great. We're not going to recommend Twitter. Just throw it out there. Or LinkedIn, not really your space. Great. Forget about it. We're not even going to talk about it. Let's focus on something that you can do, that you're comfortable doing, and let's make sure that we're doing it well. Let's make sure that it's optimized to be easy, and it's optimized to be something that you are comfortable with, something that's accessible to you. We do trainings. We help you create prompts so you can be creating content in a way that, again, is natural to you. And we're really focusing on something that you can be active on regularly. If that's not 5 times a week, then it's not 5 times a week. It's 3 times a week. If it's not an hour a day, great. It's 10 minutes a day. It's something you do before you go to bed or during your lunch break. That is my goal, and Luminare's goal, honestly, is to make this easy and accessible for you in a way that feels natural as well.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah. And the other piece that I think is important to remember is that the strategy evolves over time. So again, you don't need to start with 25 things. You need to, and you can get comfortable as you go. So at first it's going to be hard, and then it's going to get easier because you start with a little thing that maybe you have never tried, and then you can start in your comfort zone. Like we always think about it, oh, you need to get out there, you need to get out of your comfort zone. Yes, that's true. Eventually, you need to get there to push a little bit. But you can start where you're a little more comfortable, maybe with an event in your area, going to talk to the local bookstore. That's marketing as well. And those are all ways that you can understand that you're not the annoying salesperson knocking on the door when you're having lunch. You're just talking to other people, and these people are actually the people who will love reading your book. So it's just like a conversation. What we want to this message to be is you're gonna just create fun relationship with people who are just gonna thank you that you introduce a book to them. So it's not like a sales tactic. This is like really building something that is going to benefit both the author and the reader, because the reader is going to discover an incredible book that they're going to love, and you are going to build a new relationship and having someone that is going to talk about your book to someone else. And so it's just like a way to extend and naturally increase your sphere and have an impact on the community you want. So, and probably that was the whole reason why you wrote that book. It's not to sell it to become rich. It's because you wanted to tell that story. And this is exactly why we're gonna market the book.
And I start every conversation with an author talking about their goals, because they'll often come and be like, well, I signed up for marketing because I want to sell more books. And I'll say, great, that's a great goal for marketing. What is your goal with the book though? And then we talk through those options. Is it to make money? Is it to spread awareness for a cause? Is it to entertain? Is it to raise awareness? Is it to build a community? Is it to uplift someone? Is it to educate? What is the reason that you wrote the book? And let's make sure that our marketing complements that goal, because that's what's really important. Sales are great, and we want to boost those sales, but also we're boosting the sales in order to meet that initial goal, which is to educate, entertain, raise awareness, etc.
Absolutely, yes. Sometimes people get scared about like what to do or how to get into things, but again, even social media, which is, I feel, one of the things we get or hear like some pushback, and it's like, and maybe you heard like, oh, actually, social media marketing is not that effective for books. Well, if you compare it to Amazon advertising, yes, for sure, it's not as effective. The thing, though, is, first of all, is free. It's basically free. Mm-hmm. And it grows with you. So you can decide how to interact. And it's a community. You can build a community on social media in a much easier way than having to go to book fairs or like writing conferences and all that stuff. So it's just a good way to also to practice and see what is working, what is not. I mean, from your point of view, and what stories from your book you can share, and what's going to be a good hook. And maybe, that's going to give you an inspiration for a second book, or who knows?
Exactly.
So the other thing at this point I would ask you is, what do you think is the best approach to marketing for authors who are maybe either completely new to it, or maybe they have started, but they are having some trouble with getting any traction?
Absolutely. We're going to go back to consistency. I know this is going to be a recurring keyword for me, consistency, because it's not about quantity, it's about quality. So even if you're posting every single day, if it's not an authentic quality post, and it's not going to be worth your time to be doing it, you're just spending energy on something that's not going to be it's not going to be sustainable for you. And we really want you to be sustainable. We would rather have you posting once a week on social media than posting every day, because if you're trying to post every day and you can't keep up with it, you're going to give up entirely at some point. It's just going to have to stop. And then you have a dead account that's sitting there, no one's touching it. And that doesn't look great either, especially when someone's Googling you and then they think, are they still writing? Are they still active? I don't know, because I can't see anything that's going on. So we'd rather you be consistent. So take the anxiety out of your posting schedule. We're going to make sure that whatever you're doing is something sustainable for you specifically and your book. But to get started, I'm going to say that building up your brand is the number one place to get started. The advertising, the publicity, the marketing, all of that is great, but it's something that you do once you have something to promote. So while you can start building your brand, even before you've written the book, you can be joining social media or building your author website or starting a newsletter. Things like that is something you can start doing and finding your people and finding your community. But I'm also going to say that when you're in the middle of book production, you're in the middle of editing and design, focus on that and let marketing and promotion take the backseat, and just stay consistent with one piece of your brand. If that means you have a blog that you've been updating monthly, and if that's the only thing you can handle right now, social media is too much, but you feel like you can sit down and write a 500-word blog post once a month, then keep doing that. Just find one piece that you enjoy that keeps you active and engaged with your network and building that community, and that's going to be key. For fiction, I really, really recommend being on social media and just following readers. What are they reading? What are they saying? What do they like in a book? What don't they like in a book? Who are your people? Because you might find that your target audience is not who you think it is. You might think this is going to do great for 20-something girls in college and they're going to love it. And then you find your real audience are 35-year-old at home with the kids who want to get a little escapism. Like, you are never going to know until you go out there and kind of find out. And so start figuring out who your target audience is, start figuring out who your ideal reader is, and go from there. For nonfiction, I really love the idea of diving into your niche. Find out what the community is. Are there groups, organizations, clubs? There's often a Facebook group talking about it, even if it's self-help, parenting, cookbooks. I mean, there's politics, current events, all of these things are going to have a niche and a group that you might want to think about joining. Look at podcasts. What are they saying about it? What is the current discussion on your topic of expertise and what makes it timely? And that's where you're going to chime in with your expertise and your content with, oh, I just saw an article on this in Time. This would be a great social media or blog post. My commentary on this article that I just saw. That's a great way for you to be active and engaged. And again, even if it's once a month, that's all right. You can worry about ramping it up. You can worry about doing more when you have the time and energy. But find that one thing, keep on that all throughout, and then everything else is going to ebb and flow. And we're going to help you with that too. If you find that social media is just a little bit too much, there are some more paid promotions like giveaways that we can help you host. There are things that ebook discounts and promotions, adding your book to newsletters, helping you create a media or sell sheet so that when you do reach out to bookstores, you have something to offer them. These are all things that we can help you with and take it off your plate. We're not trying to take it out of your hands. We are trying to support you and what you're already doing.
Yeah, great. Absolutely. And that is the thing. We say, like, just do one thing a day. Doesn't matter what it is, but just to keep it going. Like, one thing a day, and it doesn't have to be for 2 hours. Like, no one has 2 hours. And even if you do, maybe there are other ways. You can probably start writing something else instead of like just promoting, because after a while you're going to lose steam. So just take a little block of your time, put it on your calendar, and try to do that every day instead of thinking, oh, I'm going to sit down for 6 hours one day and then not going to think about it for the rest of the week. It's not really effective usually from what we have seen.
Yep. Absolutely.
And the other funny thing that I was thinking, because you were talking about blog, and authors, after writing maybe beautiful long books, they are kind of scared about content creation. So they think, oh no, I don't want a blog. I don't have time for a blog. And it's totally fine. it's not that you really need a blog necessarily. There are reasons maybe you want it, especially maybe I'm thinking more nonfiction, if you really want to keep building your brand and show your expertise in a way that is like free for the author kind of to start following. And the thing you were saying about being timely versus the book. So the book, you're building something that is potentially timeless, that can go for years and years and years. Like we still refer to books written like 100 years ago. And but the expectation on the internet, and you can find something instead that is more relevant to the moment. So a blog post, for example, or a social media post can be related to the time. And then your books can be the reference for the deeper conversation or the deeper thought, something that you're going to learn or enjoy or have fun with, depending on what you're writing. But what do you think about people having this concern or being skeptical about content creation? What do you describe as content creation for authors in the marketing idea, in the book marketing promotion idea?
So the best part about this is that you've already created the content. You already wrote the book. The book is your content, and you are just extrapolating from that. In fact, I really recommend content chunking for authors, especially when they're feeling anxious about creating content out of something. If they're thinking I have to create something out of thin air, well, you don't. Take your book, divide it into 12 sections, 12 months of the year, divide that into 12 blog posts, let's say, and then those blog posts, 3 social media posts for each blog post. That's your social media and your blog content and your newsletter content if you're doing a wrap-up newsletter every quarter. Mm-hmm. It's already written. I know people get really anxious about giving out their content for free. You don't want to publish your book on your blog where people can see it for free and then read all your blog posts and feel like they've read the book. I can tell you right now that no one's doing that. No one is going through and reading every single one of your blog posts because no one has the time to do that. Ideally, they have a life as well, and they're not just glued to their screen reading all these blog posts to get free book content so they don't have to pay for it. That's not really how it works. Mm-hmm. Honestly, readers want to support authors. They want to support the creators that they love and admire. And so if they find that they are really learning a lot from your blog, from your social media, from your newsletter, they will invest in the book to be able to, 1, support you, and 2, to have an easy, accessible way to see all that content in one place instead of having to log on, find the blog post they were thinking about, find a social media post from 6 months ago. It's just not going to happen that anyone's going to be reading your blog just to get free access to your book. Yeah. So it's okay to be sharing excerpts from your book on your blog. And you can, again, extrapolate from it. Maybe you share a 300-word excerpt from one chapter, and then you say, here's a current example of that happening. And you switch out the example that's in your book with an example you saw in the news or on social media or on TV or whatnot, or in a movie or TV show. You know, maybe you're talking about narcissism in your book. It's a psychology book. I'm just throwing out an example. And then you're like, I was watching an episode of Succession, and I saw this really great example of narcissism. Let's talk about it because it's a great example of the point I'm trying to make here from chapter 10 of my book. That right there is reusing content you already have and then pulling from the current media landscape or what you also know and engage with. It's a fun way to keep it fresh, keep it relevant. You can go back and use that same content chunk again in the future, because maybe now you see something in the New York Times or Wall Street Journal and you think, here's another great example of narcissism. Great, reuse that definition from your book and throw it together with that example. Reuse, reduce, recycle, so that you're not having to come up with something all the time. But also, again, content chunk your book. Use your book as content to incentivize people to want to invest their time and money into the actual product. And for fiction, you can be doing this as well, especially with consumer reviews. Take those reviews and post them on your social media and have it list, review from Amazon reviewer, review from Goodreads, review from social media at handle, whatnot, and post the feedback your book is getting. Reuse that. Post something funny your character said, or short excerpts or little scenes that you think are going to attract people to your book or add suspense or make them question what's going on. I want to know more. I want to know this character. reuse your content. You don't have to be creating something from scratch. And if you are creating something from scratch or you want to, we can help with that. I can give you all kinds of prompts that help you in creating content. But honestly, what I'm doing when I'm creating a content calendar for an author is I'm looking through the book, I'm seeing what are questions that they can answer 10 different ways. Same question, 10 different answers for 10 different posts. And I'm giving you prompts and ideas to help inspire you to create content. I also really want to encourage you to look at other content creators. Look at what they're doing online, emulate them, and notice that the days of super high quality production are kind of behind us. On social media, they want authenticity. They want to see a person. They want to see you, a unique individual talking. They don't want to see you all glammed up and like you're going to be on a TV segment. They want to hear what you have to say from a real person. So if that means that you are on your phone doing a quick video for Instagram in your car in a parking lot because you just had a sudden idea for a scene you want to write for your next book and you wanted to share and see what your audience thinks. Perfect. 30-second video right there. Post it. You're done for the day. You're done for the next 2 days if you're posting every several days. It can be as easy as that. It doesn't have to be something you sit down and prepare for and make a big show of.
And that's the other good point. Like, I think many authors think about as content, written content, but that is the nice thing of today. It doesn't have necessarily written content. And one of the way you can reuse the content is you can just read a passage of your book and make a video of it. For example, that's like a sort of like a reading. The other thing is, for people who are worried about like giving the book away for free or chunks, bigger chunks of the product itself, the book is a product that has a value itself, exactly what you're saying. So, and that's the reason why you maybe come to us to have a high quality book, like a highly quality produced book. So it's something beautiful, people love to have in their hands and use and read. Take a picture of that, take a picture of the passage and then highlight it and do something. And that's an image, that's content creation. It's not necessarily writing 500 or 1,000 words and having to come up with new ideas every time, like reuse, comment other people, and look what other authors similar to you, and maybe you can share their book. So
yes,
use the other people's content and comment and praise them and see, we're making sort of like a similar point in this book, or like, look, that's like a story from the same time or the same imaginary world I'm creating. So this
that
like
is such a great point. And uplifting other authors and other people in community, they're going to be more likely to uplift you and your content. I love it when I see an author promoting another book, a comp title, and we call those comparable titles. They're not competitive titles. We're not thinking of them as competitors. We're thinking of them as comparable titles. They have similar content or a similar theme, or maybe you share a target audience. That's going to be your comp title. Post a review of their book and tag them. They're going to see it. Maybe they follow you. Maybe they think, oh, this is actually really similar. Let me go check out their book. Also, it's going to help you reach their audience who would be interested in your book too. And the algorithm, they see all. Algorithm sees all. So they will connect your communities. And maybe that person sees, oh, this author posted an author I really, really like. Let's go see what the similarities are. Or I agree with their review, or I don't agree with their review. At least it's getting your engagement up, which is getting visibility for your other posts up too.
And this is not a scam. This is not a
Nope.
bad technique. This is absolutely a win-win situation for both authors, because exactly the nice thing of book marketing and books in general, it's rare. It's very, very rare that you have a competition. It's not that, oh, I bought this book, therefore I'm not going to buy that. Yeah, maybe you're not going to buy at the same time, but there's a really high chance if you really like one book and someone else suggested like a similar book, people are going to buy that. That's like avid readers are going to buy a lot of books and a lot of similar books, maybe because they love that specific genre. They're not going to say, okay, I read a romance yesterday, then the next thing is going to be a nonfiction book completely different. I mean, it could happen, but that's sort of like, let's say, apply within the same genre or similar books. So don't worry about engaging with other authors. They're not your competitor, actually your friend.
It's a conversation.
Yes, and then
Imagine that every
there are emails. Like there are ways to interact with authors and readers, and so marketing is fun because it's really building a relationship with people you will like. You might find their book really good, and maybe it was your inspiration
Mhm.
to write your book in the first place.
And they love to see that. Imagine that any social media platform you're on, you're actually in a room with all of those people, and maybe you're in a conversation with someone talking about your book. They asked you about your book, you're talking about it, and you overhear someone talking about another book you love. Wouldn't you turn around and say, "Oh, I loved that book," and engage in that conversation? You would invite them to join your conversation and then discuss. And maybe the original person you're talking to goes, "Oh, that sounds really similar to what you were just saying about your book." You're just having a conversation. It's just online.
Absolutely, yes. Well, thank you. I think there was like a lot of things we covered. I want to just end with a very like practical question or practical idea for how people can go today, tomorrow, not waste your time, start today, whatever at whatever stage you are, even if you're still writing, if you're
Mhm.
making your cover, start thinking about it. Okay, as soon as the cover is done, I could do something with it. I can do like a reveal cover or something like that.
Mhm.
So what are three things pretty much every author can and maybe needs to do when maybe they get their book done or their cover done?
I'm actually going to say that what you need, one, you need to know who your target audience is. You really need to know who is your ideal reader. If your book is for everyone, your book is for no one. That is a very common phrase in the industry. Not everyone's going to like your book, and that's okay. Let's figure out who is going to like your book. And you do that by looking at your comp titles, what other books, who is reading those books, what kind of press and attention did they get and from where. That's going to help you narrow it down. Also, being on social media and just engaging with those community conversations. You need to know who that is because it is going to impact how you talk about your book, where you promote your book, and how you go about it. Two is you really need a condensed pitch for your book. When someone asks you, "What is your book about?" You can't answer with the entire back cover description. It's too long, it's too lengthy. You're going to lose them.
Mhm.
Try and narrow it down to a 2 sentence description. My book is a fantastical romance set in the 21st century that really dives into competition and jealousy. That is your pitch. I'm intrigued. I like those themes. I like that idea. I like romance. I like fantasy. I want to learn more. And that opens the door. But starting off with, well, you see, the main character does this and then goes this and then this happens, it's not going to drive their attention. Nonfiction as well. My book is an exploration of the history of epidemia in rural states, something along those lines. You want 2 sentences max so that you can introduce your book in a way that's going to be accessible and friendly to anyone you're talking to, or even when you're writing about it. Having 2 sentences is really ideal for everything that you're doing. And on top of that, third thing is you really need to have an action item. You need to know your call to action. What do you want people to do? Do you want them to buy the book? Is your goal really to get the book in as many hands as possible? Is your goal to educate? Because then maybe your goal is having them sign up for your blog so they continue to learn long term and they're engaged that way. Maybe your goal is they sign up for a newsletter. Maybe their goal is they join your community. Maybe your goal is they buy a service from you that's based on your book. Maybe your goal is they invest in you as a reader or that they leave a review. And this call to action can change over time, but you need to have one for everything you're doing. So if you just got the cover, your goal is follow my social media for updates on the book so that you can purchase it the second it's ready to order. Or maybe you have the pre-order page now, then your goal is pre-order my book. Maybe the book is out. Your goal is review my book. That call to action is going to change, but make sure you have one. So I know you wanted something actionable. I really think those three things are going to be the Lego pieces that you build on.
Yeah, I agree. And I think I agree with you. The main thing we always say is like start building your community.
Mhm.
I think that the best goal to action at first for most authors is just join the newsletter, because that's going to be kind of the foundation. But yes, as you go, that can change. It can be, if you don't have a website ready yet, maybe you can start on social media. Absolutely, build your following, especially if you're still trying to learn who your target audience is. Like, you don't want a ton of people on your newsletter that are gonna hate your book. So absolutely, change, evolve, and be open. It's not even a marathon, but think in the next year as a minimum. Like, don't think, okay, I'm gonna buy the marketing today. First of all, you don't buy marketing, you just do it. So it's like an activity. So we can help you first with publishing the book, and publishing is most likely like a one and done. So there's the product, you wrote the book, then there's production, of course, there's the editing. The book is published, that chapter is closed, but then the next chapter is marketing, and that book doesn't end. It's like keeps going and going.
It has life.
Yes.
It has a whole life after you publish it. And you know, again, going back to marketing feeling daunting and overwhelming, marketing is not the hard part. Writing the book, publishing the book, that is the hard part. I
agree.
Can't imagine. I've never written a book because that is really daunting and scary to me. Marketing is there's short-term pieces that you do over a long time. It's easier to chunk out marketing than it is to chunk out an entire book. So you've already done the hard part. This part, let it be the fun part. Let it be the part where you finally have all that hard work pay off and you're able to share it with the people that you want to be enjoying it.
Well, thank you so much, Olivia. This was great. And I think that our authors and anyone really that sees it is going to love it. Thank you for watching. And if you need anything, don't hesitate to come to our website and get in touch with us. Talk soon.